Hello, everyone. N here, pronouns they, them, and marketing lead at, no, marketing lead, oh my God, community lead at Livepeer Foundation. Welcome to Watercooler, where we talk about all the things happen in library ecosystem and having conversations with the community. Have a few updates for you on my end. First, we had a slight increase on the fees paid in network, on the network at 16,259. We also have seen an increase in the participation rate up to 48.7%, still below that 50%. So inflation is still increasing. Inflation rate is still increasing. And those are the main metrics to update there. Apologies, I've been sick. So didn't get an announcement up last week. I'll try to get one up this week. So thanks for the patience there. And I will throw it to Rich to give some updates on the Livepeer Summit that's coming next week.
Well, Doug, do you want to go first, and then I can come into it with a bit more granular detail if you want to do a high level overview.
Great. Yeah. My goal is not to give the overview of the full agenda or anything. I just wanted to say a few words about the hackathon portion of the summit, which is, on one hand, hackathons have this connotation that everyone like forms a team and works for 48 hours to produce a single hack or piece of software or whatnot. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands that, hey, even if you're not a developer, even if you're not looking to go and like build a piece of software, that is totally fine, because I think a lot of the spirit of what we're going to do during that time is just break out into, you know, groups of people that are focused on, solving any particular problem that exists in the live peer ecosystem, brainstorming solutions, looking at opportunities across, all the areas of the project, from what we need to build, but also, how the crypto economics work, or um, how we can grow demand, or how the project should be marketed, or all of these areas are relevant. So, I know you put out a call for ideas for people to pitch, if you will, but I just wanted to urge people to keep an open mind and feel excited to surface the areas that they're excited to spend time in person with, other members of other SPEs, or the foundation, or the Inc. team, to like collaborate in small groups to work on those problems together. I think it's going to be really fun. I think people can move from, across a couple different topics if that's of interest, and just make sure no one is, closes their mind to just think about it as, 48 hours of software development. So that's just the theme I wanted to bring up. People can certainly chime in, discuss, answer any questions. Uh, and yeah, feel free to jump in, Rich, and give any other key updates you want to share.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe I'll come in with a bit more granular detail, and then take questions, just to try and ward off any. Yeah, no, thanks, Doug. It's a really good intro, because we made the call to really try and have a very hands-on, sort of proactive. What better way to meet people than to work on core ideas for the Livepeer project? So we've put together this hackathon, ideathon, for about 24 hours, what we can work on. And I wonder whether it's worth just sharing my screen, just to go through some
Yeah, feel
high
free.
level stuff. Awesome. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see it?
I can see it on my end.
Perfect. I'm sure someone can't see it, but that's Discord. I'll share it in a bit. Before I get going, there's someone who's very much like been behind this and leading this forward. She's not on this call, but Carlotta has been doing like a huge amount of work for the summit. Mariana, who also works with Livepeer at the beginning, has who also works with Livepeer, has done a lot of work at the beginning to find the venue, and then Carlotta's been absolutely amazing getting this all together, getting the Luma up, getting the agenda up and running, and everything you're about to see would not be possible without her. So I realize she's not on this call, but yeah, massive shout out to Carlotta for really leading this forward. Um, So yeah, super excited next week to be gathering everyone. As you know, this is a gathering of 55 contributors to the Livepeer project. I think one thing about the project is this amazing community that we do have, and yeah, it's just awesome to be gathering people from Livepeer Inc., from the Foundation, from the AI SPE, from Agent SPE, from all different other SPEs, from builders, also building on top of the network. And really, you know, you've seen a lot of this, which is this is a next chapter for the Livepeer project, and the agenda for the 2 days. I'll let everyone read it in their own time. The top details. Well, that in the morning we'll be having some keynote from Doug and a couple of talks from myself and Eric, and then we've got some awesome talks from the community on different topics. So we have Eli, Peter, Define, Shan. I think you're all on the call. We've got a daydream spotlight with Hunter and Ryan, and then we've got Nick to talk about Livepeer's open social opportunity. And that's really going to be the morning where there's going to be a fair bit of like sitting and listening time. I think it's always useful just to set the tone for the 2 days, and then in the afternoon, this is where we're actually going to kick things off for the hackathon. And as you'll see here, it will start with like challenge, problem identification, scoping in different groups, which I'll come on to in a minute, to really discuss some of the core problems that the Livepeer project faces. A lot of this has been set through the advisory board process, and we're sort of super excited to bring that to the next stage and to have this the 24 hours as being a real execution moment to work on some of these core challenges. And as you'll see here, I'll come into a bit more detail. The hackathon will kick off immediately after lunch on the first day, and it will go through to day 2, where there'll be a full day of hacking and a showcase at the end. And just to double click into a bit more detail, Carlotta and so N and I will mostly N will be leading the facilitation of it throughout that period. I presume that was N unmuting for a minute.
Yeah, I said woo. Sorry.
And then I'll be supporting. And like I said, we'll have step 1 around problem definition to think of the different areas. So I'll be facilitating a more like go-to-market track, and Ben will be facilitating what we're calling like a token value accrual track, which will be a mixture of markets and governance. And each one will have like a variety of different topics that people can focus on. Obviously, it's very open, but these will be the core problem spaces that will be discussed within small breakout groups. And then from there, once we've sort of defined core problems for a couple of hours, we'll be having a look at solutions. Oh, I don't know why that's at the same time. But yeah, we'll be going from solutions, so ensuring that there's identifying the problems, and then there'll be sort of like ideation and brainstorm. Now, what it's key is like everyone should be coming into that hackathon already thinking around potential solutions that can be worked on. And the idea is that people bring these ideas to the working group, to the breakout group, sorry, and then can discuss them to really like refine the hackathon project. Then in step 3, there'll be the sort of team formation. So who wants to work on what, and submitting ideas forward. In step 4, there'll be kickoff presentations on the first day, so that when it comes to the morning, the day after, there'll be a short introduction from Anna and myself, and then there'll be just getting to it and hacking something together, followed by this step 6, which will be judging. Now, we discussed that ideally there would be, rather than like a formal panel, it would be much more focused on like voting collectively, everyone who's there voting on top projects, and there will be some small prizes that will be given out. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We'll be sharing something in a bit more detail very, very shortly. But any questions for myself, for Ed, and for Doug, please do bring them up now or drop them in the chat.
And one note for me on kind of the topic of it doesn't have to be like, everyone's coding. There can be, if someone's interested in like how do we increase delegator count or how do we get more visibility on socials. I think those would also be valid. I know I saw that growth section, Rich. Those will also be valid things to ideate on and come up with plans or solutions. So don't count yourself out just because you don't code.
100%. And this is a great question from Shan, actually. Will folks be able to join remotely? Really great question. I think folks definitely should be able to. So I'm going to make a note of that and inform Carlotta. That's a great shout. Just out of interest, can give a thumbs up if you want to join remotely. If I get 3 thumbs up, then it's a great idea. Okay, awesome. Okay, fantastic. Okay, we have 5. We're back to 4, but that's fine. I'll take it. I'll talk with Carlotta to see how we can arrange that. I think that's a really great shout, Shan. So thanks for suggesting. Any other questions?
Awesome. If there are no other questions for Rich, myself, or Doug on the summit, then we'll move on to the next topic. But again, feel free to, any lingering questions, post them in chat. Any last thoughts for you, Rich? Are you good?
One final question from Shan. Are there prizes? Yes. And if anyone has any great suggestions other than LPT for second and third place or for first place, please do drop them in the chat. We're all ears this week. So yeah, another great suggestion. There will definitely be, or question, there will definitely be prizes.
Awesome. I see Jason typing. Oh, that's a good idea. All right. Well, thank you.
Talking about the weekend in Wales with me, right? Wales is a beautiful place.
So next up, we have Define with some Embody updates. Super excited to hear how that's been going.
Thank you, Anne, and hello, everyone. So we were able to put the pipeline into operational mode. So right now, the orchestrators who participate in the pipeline are able to deploy their full avatars, pixel stream that, and we have an endpoint where we can feed those avatars with TCP commands. We basically push a payload and that produces the content that we need. Now, we were able to do that outside the regular micropayment system. So we created a centralized backend, which is open source right now. You can take it on the repository, which I will post here, but still retain the top 100 orchestrators dominion, and only people who are in the top 100 of orchestrators can join these jobs. The feedback we took from the orchestrators was that onboarding in comparison to any other traditional onboarding was very smooth and they really liked it. This was the first time which I wasn't constantly providing help to people, debugging help on how to set up. So it is very encouraging. And how the system works is that you accumulate balance. So think about traditional payment tickets, but not probabilistic. They're just concrete payment tickets. Once that balance is accumulated on the backend, which records, then the payment account executes the payment and the orchestrator is being paid. Now, we did some tests with a small amount of ETH to test out. We also implemented the mechanism that even if the wallet does not have Ethereum inside, the balance still accumulates. And once we drop the balance to the wallet, all the accumulated profits of the orchestrator will be distributed to those addresses. Now, the next payout to the wallet will be done today in about an hour. The reason that we're doing the small test and we didn't officially announce that every orchestrator is able to join, and every orchestrator here, of course, is able to join because it's permissionless. You can just register with your orchestrator by just using your public orchestrator account. So no Livepeer Go involved in this. Is that we want to test for abuse. And we already had some cases where, for example, one orchestrator deployed multiple of their accounts, and for this reason, we reduce the amount of the payout amount to one third than the one which was advertised for the incentives, and it will remain at that amount till we officially announce that. So the only update that we need before we announce that is two updates actually. One on the payment processor to harden its ability to detect that the now we got you know who I'm talking about, but it's not anyway. So the one update is that we will harden further the payment processor so that it's able to um, ban some addresses, especially those who are proven that they're abusing, or those who have, for example, not nice Ethereum names, ENS names, which is also can cause problems to our business, as you can think. And the second is to also harden to be able to better detect that the pixel streaming is actually completed from that machine. And the other update that we're going to do is on the actual uh, Unreal package. So we will push the latest version of the game. And what I'm working right now is to capture the pixel streaming output so we can start creating our content and start pushing our content. Um, and this is a bit troublesome because of how pixel streaming works. It doesn't give priority if you try to take the the pixel streaming output from anything else that your browser. You need to pass some flags that control the quality, and to do that you need to change the the insides of the pixel streaming official pixel streaming container, which isn't very well documented as well. So once this is resolved, and I think it's very viable in the next couple of days, maybe even today, uh, we will announce it officially for our orchestrators. And the last comment about the centralized payment system is that this is a temporary solution. We definitely go back and try with the macro payment systems, but we are also thinking that there are still decentralized ways to push user cases, to pay for user cases exclusively in Livepeer while still retaining the top 100 orchestrator dominion. And one such user case I've been exploring is to use Superfluid, which is a decentralized payments protocol with an oracle that aggregates the top 100 from the bonding manager. So these are the updates from me. If anyone has any question or any feedback at all, please feel free to either ask the question here or on the chat, and please consider joining the Embody server in case that you want to get any information from us to onboard on the current release before the official release. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Define, did you want to drop the link to the Embody server in chat just so folks can join if they want?
Oh, yes, I dropped it already, but
Oh, you did. Sorry, I missed it. I wasn't looking at chat.
yes,
Okay.
you can
Amazing.
click there, guys, and you will be able to join.
Well, congrats again on getting the Embody server up and running and getting that initial, those initial things worked out. Of course, the beauty of decentralized systems is figuring out the gaps and the holes and stuff. Any other thoughts or comments before we move on? Nope. All right. Well, thank you, Define, as always. Right. Next up, we have Titan about trustless agents. Titan, take it away.
Hello, hello. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is great. Yeah, so quick update from my end. Basically building out, the Sarah project and obviously working closely with the Embody team and getting things launched onto Livepeer is very exciting. But yeah, in turn of building out, Sarah kind of being a pet project and first kind of go to market, product where people can view, what a live streaming AI agent might look like, or what how it to interact with it, or kind of finding some product market fit of how to market this type of product. We built Sarah, and we kind of now just exclusively stream on Pump.fun because there's a lot of developments going on there, and it's quite exciting and crypto native. So like we were cross streaming to like Twitch and YouTube and X, but there's just really not much engagement there. Whereas on Pump.fun, there's just a whole lot of like cool things we can do where like Sarah has challenges, and anyone who's talking with Sarah because they're on Pump.fun, they have a Solana wallet, so we can like do airdrops and giveaways and all these like cool things directly on the platform. And then on top of that, Pump.fun has now like token gated the chat. So like now you have to own the Sarah token to talk to Sarah. And so like there's all these like cool primitives that they're kind of doing. And so we're quite dedicated to that social platform for streaming. But in doing so, we were using Eliza OS to build kind of the brains of Sarah, and then using Livepeer to obviously like create the video that would be broadcasted. And in doing so, the Ethereum Foundation is putting out they have the ERC or EIP 8004, which is all around trustless agents. And I have been, I've been selected one of the top 20 Eliza OS agent developers. They kind of took their top 20 developers building agents, something unique, something novel, put us into a group chat with Shaw, who's kind of the founder of Eliza OS, and then the Ethereum Foundation as well. They're in the chat. And the idea is they want to get feedback on this EIP of trustless agents. And so a quick rundown of what a trustless agent kind of is, or how it works. So this is a standard that is going to be going forward for agents to be able to request services. So if you could imagine, Sarah is this live streaming agent. She's interacting with people. She's autonomous in the world. Let's say that, for instance, Sarah wanted to buy someone a pizza, and well, buying pizza is quite it's not an on-chain task. It requires a trusted party to go order that pizza, make sure that the pizza arrives, make sure that some sort of executed task is going to happen. And right now we could use, trusted parties where, hey, this is an API call to a trusted um, service provider or something like this that we can try and integrate with. But what the this EIP brings forward is a standard for bringing trustlessness to agents services. So in this case, there's like 4 criteria that you need to be registered on chain, right? You need to have a domain where people can look up the agent servers, the serving, capabilities. They have to have an on-chain address for payments, and then there also has to be, a registry associated with that address and that service. So like there'll be a reputation-based registry, a validation registry, like all these type of like tools that are useful for agents to read. And the idea would be, hey, look, instead of just going and trying to find a service provider to order pizza for this agent, we can look on chain and go, hey, here's a service provider that's listed on chain, and here's a cohort of validators or feedback from other agents saying they have a 99.9% guarantee that the pizza is going to arrive. Here are all the on-chain payments that have happened. Here are all the feedback from other agents as well as staking providers to say, hey, this pizza delivery service works. It works well, and you don't have to trust anyone else. It's valid on chain with feedback. And so now decentralized, agents can now do things without having to trust anybody. And they can look it up through an on-chain registry, essentially EI, the EIP 8004 standard. And so they're looking to get feedback on just the structure of how that data or metadata is like conceptualized and stored as a standard. Okay, the long-winded explanation of the EIP itself. How does Livepeer fit into this? And so if Sarah is a client agent, so she's the one that is requesting services, then Livepeer would be a server agent, and the server agent is one that provides some sort of service, like pizza in the previous example. In this case, Livepeer would provide as the live streaming capabilities for an agent. And so if an agent is a text-based agent and they wanted to provide a live feed of themselves, they could look up the registry on chain and go, who does live streaming for an autonomous agent? Livepeer as a network would pop up, and they would say, it's highly reliable, and here's all the instructions for your agent to call upon. And now any autonomous agent in the world, regardless of whether it's decentralized or centralized, can now call upon that service. And now they have, spun up a Livepeer node who is now live streaming this agent and we're using the BYOC containerization. So it's like a, just in time, consistent payment streaming method, and this can all be done on chain because most of these agents understand chain payments. And so now Livepeer can be like the frontier for bringing agents to life with generative live streaming. And we can position Livepeer as that service registry, and being having excellent uptime, crypto native, a service that all agents in the world can look up in a global directory. And Livepeer can, we are building out that technology. The great thing is not many people are doing this, so we really are in a category of our own. Um, Unlike LLMs or image generation, where like there's just a lot of competition amongst big entities. We're building out something that's quite unique, which is headless streaming for agents. So yeah, anyway, this is kind of the conversation that has started with the Ethereum Foundation. They want to get our feedback as agent builders to know, what we value, how we would like things to be structured, and how agent builders can fit into these. So I'm kind of playing a double agent role, if you will, which is I'm building out Sarah, which is an agent that I own and I get to experiment with, and then I get to kind of really understand the 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 integration would be into the server side, and how Livepeer can fit into that type of registry for global adoption for agents. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. We just scratched the surface. We just started up the chat on Friday, and everyone took the weekend off, so we're back at it today, and we're into discussion. So feel free to follow along. I'll give people updates as it comes out. But yeah, it's pretty out there stuff. It's pretty interesting, and there's super smart people in this chat, all trying to work out how this could work into the future, and make things very interoperable and stuff like that. So that's an update from me.
Wow, super exciting stuff. And as always, Tyne, thank you for, um, you know, getting out there and finding these opportunities for the network as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, just gonna be massaging it and figuring out what how people want to do it, how the Livepeer network fits into this, kind of help with subtle branding and hints of what we're doing, and then also the Sarah project, just kind of like keep experimenting with different technologies to make her the most interesting agent on the Pump platform is the idea. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Question for me: do you know what is the daily traffic of Pump.fun? Do you know what it is?
Daily users,
Yeah,
like
or
across the
like
whole platform.
site visits. It could be another example.
Don't know,
Okay.
don't know, but
No
we
worries. I
like
was just curious.
right now. Sarah has something like 8-10 viewers, and I can only really comment on the statistics of Sarah because
Right.
I have all the back end stuff, and so like she gets like 1 to 2,000 chat messages per day, averaging eight
Oh
to
wow.
ten viewers. Um, yeah, it's yeah, people like chatting with her, and excited to kind of keep excited to get her on her on the Livepeer network streaming, and then we can now spin up multiple Sarahs in different fashions, or provide it as a service provider. So um, yeah, but as for the Pump platform, I know that it's pretty like influxy, right? Like it's it's like dead because they all go somewhere else, and then Pump puts out a new platform, and then it's still the number one meme coin launch pad in the world, and their live streaming is really starting to bring in um, like a whole cohort of people who are not into crypto, which is pretty crazy. A lot of people from Twitch are coming over to Pump, um, and a lot of people from OnlyFans are coming over to Pump
Hmm.
because they can actually earn more on Pump than OnlyFans. So it's
Oh,
it's like a
interesting.
yeah, it's I mean, it definitely has its toxicity, but I mean, when Sarah was one of the first live streamers on Pump when they released it back, and there was only like maybe 5 to 10 streamers. Now there's like 10 to 20 pages of streamers, so
Oh
like
wow.
it's grown significantly. Live streamers used to be sub 1 million market cap. Now that the entire first page is like between 10 to 20 1 to 10 million market cap, so like there's definitely like growth on the platform, which is super fascinating. And then I also just kind of briefly mentioned to the day to Eric, like you know how does Daydream go in here and like market to these pump streamers like this product of like generative live streaming, or like just gives them an edge, right? Everyone wants an edge on Pump, so like if we can market kind of something to them, that'd be awesome.
I I have a quick question. Do you mind if I hop in?
No questions, Rich, especially from you. No, just kidding.
Of course,
Yeah,
Rich, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna ask you.
of course,
Just,
buddy. Of course.
just
Yeah.
you
Go,
wait,
go, go.
mate. Just you wait. No, I think you like really hit the nail on the head when you were talking about wearing two hats, right? There's a private good hat, which is I want to make Sarah a super profitable project, and as you 100% should, right? Like driving demand on the network should lead to greater profit for Sarah project for Titan and crew. At the same time, there's the public good angle, which is I'm going to build open source software for the Livepeer network, and I'm going to enable through the agent SPE other people to have other implementations to do the same. So they might go down a different route, but the core technology, the core open source software is available for everyone. That's a really hard balance to get right. I think, and it's great that you acknowledge that, right? It's not easy. So my question is, what what support um, what support do you need from the community, from the foundation, from the AISP working with BYOC to ensure that we get the core open source element out um, into the broader Livepeer project.
I think it just comes down to
Does that make sense as a question? I just exploring the tension between the two, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. First of all, big shout out to Define for like literally building out the entire stack that Sarah's built on, and which introduced us into this opportunity of even having a discussion with like the Ethereum Foundation, right? Like Define has he built out or discovered the technology, built it out, and then just today I found out he like successfully is live streaming headlessly through a Linux container or Docker container, which I tried for weeks and I couldn't get it. And literally like 2 buttons later, Define's got it running, and it's like, damn. Okay, so huge shout out to Define for all the back end hard work he's done. Like it's insane the amount of drive and effort that guy's put in. So thank you, Define. um I'm probably more of a marketing guy than a coding guy, so like I'm trying to build Sarah as like something that people can visually see and interact with that's like interesting, right? Hence we caught the eye of Eliza OS and the foundation, the Ethereum Foundation, to like gather feedback, because like, oh hey, these guys are actually building something, like, and we can see it, so let's get their feedback. So um I would say the question between, Titan's pet project, Sarah, having fun with that, and real real development around, positioning Livepeer as a a service that agents can use and discover autonomously, as a network good. Yeah, those are two very like different things. They're similar because they relate to each other, but there's very different efforts that need. I think the biggest thing is like, I actually like going back for more funding to continue this this initiative is like a little daunting, just because of the drama within the governance process of the Livepeer treasury. Like I know it is what it is, and like it's really like powerful, the Livepeer treasury, but it's like it makes me not want to go apply for more funding to do this process, because like it's just so like emotional heavy, hard to deal with. It feels a lot of times like the treasury process is like you're just arguing with angry people on the internet sometimes, and even though it might not be that way, it just feels like that sometimes. And so being the recipient of like 2 grants, it's like I'm just so like I just don't want to go through that process again, right? So like I don't know, just like the foundation, I would love it if it was just like less difficult to want to go to the treasury, or something like this, so that I can, you know, keep funding engineers or keep funding um, people and keep this development, right? Um, that I would say is like the pain point of asking for treasury money to continue this sucks the most. And then as for that, I mean, I can always find people that I can hire to work with, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah.
Maybe just a brief response. I mean, it pursuing Sarah is like as I said, is 100% venture funding area, right? Is trying to build a venture, a private venture, which is great, and 100% support that. You know, a big thing that I'm looking at over the next couple of months is how we do that systematically as an ecosystem, and we'll hopefully be putting out an RFP on whether that's a venture studio or whether that's an incubator or something similar. Um, but I guess it's more from like an SPE perspective. There's been a huge amount of development by yourself, by Define, by Dane, and what I really want to make sure is that it's sort of like captured within the Livepeer project. You know, we're going through a website refresh at the minute, and I want to make sure that we're sort of advertising the capabilities that Livepeer Network has and how we can build on it. I guess from my perspective, what support do you need to ensure that all of that information is captured and sort of closing the circle if you're not coming back for fresh funding on the agent SPE to ensure that there's a sort of public good that everyone else can build off if you do follow up focusing on Sarah.
Yes, good question. I don't know how to answer it, to be honest. I don't know exactly. Like I think getting the pipeline working first and then figuring out how to like plug it in the right places is like the way to go. I don't know. Because right now, like Sarah is not even hosted on Livepeer, right? And it's like I would like to get that going first. And so I don't know how we can market or be cohesive with the rest of the network when we don't have a working like pipeline yet, right? I know Define is doing something very similar, and so maybe he could chime in on his opinion on that. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how to answer your question, to be honest.
Ritz, I may seem in here and um, give some kind of input. So basically, the the whole thing about making it open to everyone, to other developers, is mostly on the game side, and then you have some backend. And this is a thing that we discussed, all of us as Agent SP, in the previous months, before the separation, with Dane, about doing the game side uh, with a free license. So you're able to have an MIT license and people can use it. And we have most of it was ready before. We had it with MIT um, in the GitHub, and then had to pull it out so he can look at the assets and be sure that all those assets had also adequate licensing. So what is being discussed now is what licensing we want to give to the general community and make MIT, and what game fork and what game assets we should use for Titans for Titans project, Sarah, and for the
Oh no, I think you keep cutting in and out. Define.
Embody project. So we're working through that, and once all those processes are ready, uh, you will most probably see the game.
Oh, did we finally lose him? Oh, yeah. Rip.
Yeah, I think that was actually, I think the answer to the question around the license.
And one note for me, I think that, and also I do want to move on so we can still get to John's update before the hour is up. One comment from me, and then maybe we can close this out or make a thread in general to continue the conversation, or in lounge. But I think that like part of this conversation is how do we, like Rich was mentioning, how as an ecosystem, as a community, do we continue to support ventures, help people grow, especially scale if it's about revenue or if it's about public goods funding, making sure those tracks are really clear, and then as an ecosystem, how do we make sure that whatever is being created, if there is that public goods angle for the network, how do we make sure that's visible? And for Lizzie, like how do we make sure Lizzie is getting that on top of funnel and showing that off to people and making sure that can bolster the community and bring in new builders and that type of flywheel. Any last comments from you, Titan? Sorry to cut the conversation short.
No, that's okay. No, I mean, Rich, the conversation with the foundation, it's just a continuing conversation as we go forward. But yeah, it's just excited to kind of explore and get this thing on the network, and then just see where it kind of goes.
Amazing. Thanks, Titan. And also, it might be a good hackathon idea to talk about governance processes and how to make them feel a bit more approachable. It is always scary to put yourself out there, and getting the feedback is never easy. It's definitely a daunting process, and maybe there's a way we can innovate socially to try to make that a more approachable process, with more clear outlined input points for people. So anyway, I did one update myself. Just a quick note. Actually, there's two new projects that are building on Livepeer that jumped into the community recently. One is Flip Go on Hyperliquid. They're building a trading live stream platform. There's a really big trend right now where people are live streaming their trades and live streaming day trading and stuff, and it's really big in like Korea, but it's catching on across the globe. So that's super exciting. They won a hackathon prize, and I'm in contact with them. We might have them showcase, but that's pending some conversations about what we can promote, what we can't promote, what we can talk about at Fireside. So, Rich, that will be a conversation we have shortly. But super cool. I met the founder today. Super cool guy. And the other one is Vivor, being built on the Caspa network, and that's just a more traditional live streaming platform. And I'm seeing in the market a potential opportunity where each chain has its own live streaming platform built on Livepeer that integrates natively with their ecosystem. That could be a really cool selling point for networks in terms of growth, because video and streaming is like where everything's at right now, especially if it's around their specific purpose as a chain. Because I know Hyperliquid is around trading and perps. I'm not sure about Caspa, but some about security. So I could see each ecosystem developing their own creator economy via different streaming platforms. So that's pretty cool. But in the last few minutes, I'll throw it to John to talk about updates for Comfy.
I was muted there. Can everybody hear me?
You're a bit quiet, but take it away.
Let me see if I can adjust that. Should be better now.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We've been working hard on Comfy Stream, and I felt like we needed to give a development update and start engaging the community as we begin our go-to-market and start demonstrating what we've developed over the past couple of months, really, in tandem with the Livepeer Inc. and Daydream team, as well as working with all of our partners in the AISP. So I'll just go ahead and give an update here. We've updated ComfyStream to support audio, video, and text workflows. This is a really big improvement. There's a lot of new models that are available that do like video understanding, audio transcription, audio translation. ComfyStream now supports those, and it also supports a variety of different inputs and outputs. So for example, you could have 2 inputs and 2 outputs, or just 1 input and 1 output. And the workflows are also configurable with other common workflows. So like our ComfyStream core nodes are now compatible with the existing workflows, which makes it a lot easier to, connect things together. And let me just try something out in ComfyStream every time a new model comes out, and that kind of thing. We've also added support for audio video pass-through in ComfyStream UI in the backend, more of a development experience thing and testing, but this allows us to validate audio and video support at the protocol level without inference. We also fixed a very critical ComfyUI defect, and I just wanted to point out how important this one is. In the past, we had issues with our initial launch on Daydream, where streams would not stop. Technically, from my perspective, I can explain. Essentially, you set a workflow and it loads a model, and it just keeps running that stream forever. It never stops. So we fixed that now, and that allows us to leverage some of the power of ComfyUI, which automatically loads and unloads models. In fact, the whole workflow, right, and caches those nodes through the stream. I believe that this is a huge improvement for the network because we're currently, constrained with capacity, and we have, things like, for example, stream diffusion running, and we have GPUs dedicated to that one pipeline. In some of these other pipeline use cases, I think it's very reasonable to have ComfyUI, load and unload pipelines dynamically. For a lot of different OpenCV type process, even audio transcription, it's very feasible to do. So we can go from audio transcription to SD 1.5, and it'd be the same build of Comfy. We've also added a warm-up endpoint. This is going to help facilitate that. Warm-up isn't always necessary, and it's more related to the encoder timeouts, which we've also built in a warm-up pass-through to solve that. We've also worked with partnership with Dr. Pangloss, who was recently added to the Livepeer SP contributors. He's the leader of the ComfyUI Hidden Switch project, which ComfyStream relies on. We were able to add ComfyUI Manager into the ComfyStream Docker environment, as well as make it compatible so that when you run ComfyStream and it loads ComfyUI, it does not load ComfyUI Manager. And this allows us to have the best of both worlds from that user experience perspective of building workflows, and then the same build being used in production. So that's a big breakthrough there. Just a quick visual here on the node compatibility and audio transcription. You can see here, for example, save text tensor connects to our audio transcription node. There's other ways you can swap out load audio with load audio tensor, for example, here, and that makes it easy to use. We have the text output panel in ComfyStream UI now, so you can see some examples of that. You can also copy these and paste them. And mostly covered all of this, but part of our roadmap really involves publishing all of these nodes to the ComfyUI registry, because now that we have ComfyUI Manager, ComfyStream, no matter how you install it, whether it be local or Docker, Manager will prompt when you load a workflow to install missing custom nodes. This allows us to break out of that Docker dependency and start enabling more community engagement with building workflows for the network. So we've already published ComfyUI Stream Pack, and we're looking to publish other of our core nodes like the TensorRT and Torch Compile. And one idea I had was to start publishing our workflows to comfyworkflows.com. We've had an issue with there's so many versions of workflows in different repos. So thinking about how we can promote the network's capabilities there. I'll just go ahead and briefly touch on these other points and wrap it up here. We are this week looking to deploy gateway infrastructure to demonstrate this latest work in production on the network. We have one PR open on the Go Livepeer side with Brad, and the AISP team's been reviewing it. That we're already able to demonstrate and deploy. That's going to give us BYOC capability with ComfyStream. And as I mentioned earlier, the bring your own ComfyUI workspace. This is from BYOC, but again, not just having the ability to install custom nodes, but just set up a workspace locally and install that into a virtual environment. That way, the next time you load ComfyStream, it's not just your models that are preserved, but also your packages, your custom nodes, and so on. And we've been looking at tools like Comfy CLI, which can actually restore a workspace from existing files, which is really, really convenient. We have an open source contributor that's added a PR to configure batch sizes. This is a huge improvement, as we've seen in the past. ComfyUI is about 3 to 4 gigs of VRAM usage with maybe 20, 30% CPU load in some cases. This will allow us to lower that CPU overhead and improve VRAM usage, boosting FPS and overall throughput. So ComfyUI can now not only accept multiple node inputs and outputs, but within the actual video node, it can take 2 images at a time, for example. We're also looking at stable audio, WAN models, batch streaming, reader view transcription services, things like that. And our current go-to-market effort is a transcription partnership with Streamplace. And that's all I've got.
Amazing. I do have to jump, but feel free if anyone has any questions or comments for John to stay around and ask those. The one thing I will say on the Streamplace end, Skylight is becoming a really hot topic on TikTok right now because there's been a deal with the US around the app acquisition, and they're going to create a new app. And a lot of people don't want to go to the new app and are looking for alternatives. So we might shortly see a huge uptick in Skylight usage, and by proxy, a ton of people wanting to go live because that's a big feature on TikTok. So we might start to see some serious usage coming from Skylight since they're using Streamplace. Yeah, Skylight is still buggy, but again, maybe with the increased attention, they might, Carlock, they might see it get better. And I think they implemented it in a closed alpha, I want to say. That's what Eli said last. Anyway, do have to jump, but John, take it away if you have any questions. Okay, bye, y'all.